him to go through what he had went through, he began to act out and do things. The kids would jug at him a lot because a lot of them had like name brand stuff, and some of his little friends, they daddy sold drugs and stuff, and they would have stuff, and he didn't have a lot of stuff like that, and sometimes they would jug at him or whatever. He never messed with nobody. And then one day he just turned loose on somebody, and I remember being high, and I was going to the store to get some beer, and I see the ambulance in the middle of the street, and I'm like, what's going on? And they said they say this little boy done Goldberg this boy or whatever, and I got down there. No, and I said, where he at? They told me his name, and it was my son. And I was like, well, where's he at? And they say, he went running this way. And I wasn't high no more then when I got there, police and everything. But yeah, the kids, my point is that the kids went through so much. My mama, like I say, the people that love you and care about you, those are the people that you continue to hurt. You know, even though you're hurting yourself and your loved ones. It's very deep. They go through a lot.
Okay. So let's unpack this a little bit. So now you have 3 kids. Your daughter goes to see your sister.
Never come back.
She never comes back. Your oldest son, I'm assuming he's like a teenager by now.
Yes.
So he's dealing with being bullied because he actually cares about his education.
Yeah.
And he's being moved from house to house to house.
Yes.
And also at the same time, you're young.
And he's trying to look out for
your
younger
son.
You know, he buying him stuff, trying to encourage him and be there for him and help even watch him, even though he was just a child himself. Because I be gone.
In the moments when you wasn't high, did any of this dawn on you, or how did you feel about any of this?
Most of the time when I wasn't high, I was asleep. But the times when I wasn't, when I was in my right mind or whatever, of course I was, you know, what's the word I'm trying to say? I was hurtful, you know. I didn't like the things that I had done, but I couldn't help myself. There was a lot that went on inside of me. It wasn't like that I didn't care. You know, if sometimes a person on the outside looking in would think, well, you know, she just don't care, she's doing that. It's not like that. It's an addiction, you know, and sometimes it's just hard to explain, but it just takes over you, and you do things that you wouldn't do just to get it. I guess, well, with the drugs, but I mean, even with an alcoholic, I've never really seen too many alcoholics just do stuff like that to get it, but I know that they have to have it because I see them the way they act. But just drug addiction and that cocaine and that rock specifically was just something else that I experienced. Like I said, I wouldn't wish that on nobody. You know, and I talk about this a lot. Sometimes I go speak and share my testimony at different women's shelters and different places. And I always tell them I couldn't understand how a person could be so strong and yet be so weak. Because I tell you, I was this smart, intelligent person. I always worked, had it together and whatever. And then this drug took me to a place, you know, way somewhere else. And I couldn't understand how a person could just be so strong and yet be so weak. Mm-hmm.
Now, earlier you mentioned, you know, when you first started, like back when you were smoking weed stuff, 15, 16, you had, you know, friends or whatever. By this time, are any of them still around, or had y'all all went y'all separate ways?
By the time that I'm...
Like, now that you have 3 kids and now that you moved to strong drugs, is there any of them that graduated with you from one drug to the other and y'all still hanging around, or do you ever see them, or?
At that point, not after I've had that 3rd child. I mean, we grown now, and people done kind of went on their separate ways. One of the persons that I met when I first came here, she had died. She died with lupus, my good friend. And my other friend, she was just going off in her direction, and I was where I was. And so, no, everybody, we were just kind of like doing our own thing. I really probably had different friends now.
Oh, okay.
They weren't even really friends when it, you know, when it comes down to it. They were just, you know, associates. Because when we talk about that word friend, that really means something. We won't go there. But yeah.
Okay. So now we probably like what, mid-90s. You say your youngest son starting to act out.
Let's see. Yeah, cause a lot happened between during that time. Let's see. I want to take you from back there. It's a lot happened in those years of all of that stuff I'm talking about, stealing and you know, just all of this stuff going on. It went on for a minute, and it just got to be so intense, you know. Um, Getting high with different people, you know, smoked in empty houses, just all kind of stuff, all kind of stuff. You know, they people treat you on a different style. They might call you a geeky or a geek monster, or been called a skeezer, you know, all kind of stuff. But as time went on, um, you know, you got past that part. You did so much. Well, finally, let's go here. I got my own house. Well, I got my own house and didn't even have it that long. I got put out. Didn't have been staying with my mama all this while. Get my house and didn't even have it that long. And we probably know why. It was because of money. Well, you done spent almost a lot of money, didn't even have paid the rent. Well, it shouldn't have been that much staying in the project. Will remind you I still work, so they go by your income. But the bottom line is I lost it and still had to go back to my mama yet again. And went on, I'm going to go on and say like when mama died. When mama died, it was on me now. And so I had to do what I had to do. And I don't know if I'm taking you too fast.
Yeah, well, no, you good, you good. So let's just, okay, you said your mom died.
Yeah.
So what year is this?
Oh, mom died in, what's that, 2002.
Okay, so you have
No, not 2002. 2000, I'm sorry.
2000. Okay, so cool, bit. So in the 90s, you have your last child.
Yes.
Your other child, one goes off and live with your sister. One is a teenager trying to help out with the other child, but he's moving here to here. And your youngest child now.
Okay. Yeah. So right there, let's go. My oldest son, once he graduated from high school, he went to college. He went to Austin P. And then when he left Austin P, he went to Clark in Atlanta. And he stayed there. He never came back to Chattanooga to live.
Oh.
But he always loved his mama. He always showered me with gifts and just showed me love, and always tried to introduce me to different things in life. And I talk about this. He would often ask me, you know, Mama, are you living or just existing? And I would get mad, but he would try to teach me different things and show me different stuff. But of course, I didn't really have time. My mind wasn't there because I was not myself. I remember one time he came all the way from Atlanta to get me and my son to take us down there. And when he got here, I was so high and stuff, I didn't even want to go. And he was like, I can't believe you had me coming all the way up here and stuff. And, you know, he went back and he reminded me, I had forgot even all about this part, that after he got to Atlanta and stuff, and I called him and said, you know, like, would you come back and get me? And he was like, are you serious? And I said, yeah, he did. He turned around all the way from Atlanta and he came back to get me. He took me down there.
Okay, so that's powerful too. So through all this turmoil, your son somehow manages to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Not only go, but finish.
Yeah.
And he still has an outstanding amount of love for his mom.
Yes. But you know what he told me? And he told me this after he was grown. He told me that he knew even then that education was his way to getting out of the projects, you know, even at a young age. And I said, you mean to tell me being that young that you knew that? He said, yo, Mom, I knew education was the way out. And so that's why he persevered. He told me he knew that, even then.
Definitely. So now you're saying, okay, so he's on off to college. So now you only have one child really to worry about because your other child is gone off.
Yeah.
And now your mom died. So
Yeah.
how you feeling? Where you at when you get that call?
Huh?
Where you at when you get that call?
Where was I at? I was here in Chattanooga. At that
Okay.
time, my mom was in Ohio. She was with my sister at that time. You know, she had gotten old, and I think they really were trying to take her away from me, and they took her up there. So we get the call, and we get past that and all of that. But once that she's gone, well, I was down here, and she was up there, so Once she was gone, I mean, I knew she was gone. I mean, she wasn't coming back, but we did go up there to visit her. Me and my youngest son went to visit her before she died. But at that point, I'm just here, and so I'm in and out of different people's houses, but I still got that baby boy with me. I'm still working, always. I'm still stealing. I kept money. Yeah, so I can remember working the drive-through and doing transactions through the drive-through. People would come through. I would make a call and tell them to bring me something. They would order some food, and when they give me the money, they would give me the stuff, and I would put them. I would throw it in my register, and I would hand them the money right out the window. Just keep on going. My hands was, I was so fast with my hands, and all my coworkers working around me, and I'd be done did it really right in their face. So yeah.
Oh, so you mean to tell me that you were able to line it up to where
Mhm.
you was able to take orders
Yes.
and do transactions
Mhm.
without getting and this is at a time where I guess the cameras are minimal.
Yeah, they were minimal.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as it was,
Mhm.
today. So that you're not worried about that, but
Mm-mm.
that's still like
Yeah, I got people all around me, my whole crew. And I'll be already to make the call, and I know them when they stop at the register. I know what they want. I mean, at the speaker, I know what they want. I know what they're going to order or whatever, so I can count how many people down or whatever. And I'm so good with counting in my head and fast with my hands. I can count, when you're running specials or whatever. Maybe I'm not ringing up or whatever. I'm just, yes, that's exactly what I mean to tell you.
that's crazy though. But through all this, one thing I've noticed is
My Lord. Woo. Thank you, Jesus. My God. Jesus was still watching over me. But not only was he watching over me, he was watching over my children too.